Hey guys, Zephyr Nature here. Today we are going to be doing a little 72 podcast type thing. It's basically going to be like a cast interview. So we're just going to go over some questions here, and all of the cast members are going to be answering the questions. So let's get started. First question, what is your favorite prehistoric animal? So for me, it would obviously be either Megalania as my favorite non-dinosaur prehistoric animal, because man, do I love Megalania. And favorite dinosaur prehistoric animal, that would be Suchomimus, because that is a really interesting dinosaur, and it was more powerful and larger than people thought. Very interesting creature, and it will be featured in season 2 of the show, so stay tuned for that. Claire, what about you? What is your favorite prehistoric animal?
I like trilobites.
Trilobites?
I think they're adorable.
Yeah. Hannah?
Definitely Argentavis.
Yes, Argentavis. And Dawson?
Honestly, you just pick a cat. You really could. Probably, I really like Dinophilus. I think that's a very interesting cat. Or Prolurus. I think I would have liked to see one of them.
Yeah, Dinophilus, though, seriously dangerous. Because, it ate the ancient hominins, so.
Scenes, yeah. Very cool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What
Okay.
about Lucy, South Africa?
Yeah, Lucy.
Apparently she might have died in one.
Yeah, I could have got murdered by one, so. Okay, so question 2. Your favorite prehistoric animal-related movie, TV show, or documentary? You don't have to choose all 3. It can just be 1 or 2 or all 3 if you want, but I am going to do all 3. So my favorite prehistoric animal-related movie, that would be the Jurassic World series, which everyone who knows me knows that. And favorite TV show that's related to prehistoric animals, I would say Primeval. Probably the original, not the reboot. And favorite prehistoric animal related documentary, probably Monsters Resurrected, but only the episodes with Megalania and Mosasaurus. The others were like very inaccurate in terms of like sizing of the animals. They made Spinosaurus like 100 feet long or something like that. I don't remember, but Megalania and Mosasaurus were the best ones for there. It really showed some of their capabilities, especially with the reconstructions of the Mosasaurus jaw and everything. So what about you, Claire?
I like the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I think that one was great. Very memorable, very innovative.
Yes.
Velocipaster. Dinosaur movie. No, in all seriousness, I have a lot of like nostalgia for the third Jurassic Park. So just solely because of
Spinosaurus. I gotta agree with that. Like the third Jurassic Park, everyone hates it because like, oh, it's like it's not as great as the original, but like the Spinosaurus was like, it was like a unique thing at the time because nobody had done that before. Like it was like a brand new thing at the time where they're like, hey guys, we're gonna do a Spinosaurus, even though it was inaccurate. Like having too long legs and walking on land, whatever. It was still like,
Well, they didn't know at the time.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't know at the time.
It was just like this cool dinosaur that killed a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I was like, wow, that's so cool.
So, I mean, like all the time it had been done. Like all dinosaur movies are all about T-Rexes, but then they add in Spinosaurus, and it's something brand new. So that was like a really cool thing. I really loved that about it. That's why that's my favorite Jurassic Park movie out of those 3. I really love Jurassic Park 3 just because of Spinosaurus. It was such a unique thing.
Yeah. My favorite TV show is definitely Primal, though.
Oh, Primal, yeah.
That's my favorite dinosaur TV show.
Yeah. Dawson, what about you?
My favorite movie is definitely Jurassic Park dinosaur related. It's still one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And the first book used to be my favorite book ever until very recently when I got into the Song of Ice and Fire. But my favorite dinosaur media overall has got to be Walking with Dinosaurs. I checked that thing out the library so many times growing up. I remember one time my mom made me put it back because I actually said excuse you instead of excuse me to the guy in front of me and trying to get with me. So I have memory of that. But it was highly inaccurate even at the time. But I mean, it's still a wonderful movie. It was very beginning like CGI, all these cool creatures, and thinking to myself, no way one of these animals could actually have lived, 65 plus million years ago.
Yeah. Well, and also with walking with, I think it was walking with monsters. The Pleurodon that they said grew up to 25 meters. That was like one of the biggest inaccuracies there was at the time. Like people will still say that Pleurodon grew up to 25 meters, but in reality it was only 25 feet. So just kind of an interesting thing there, but they totally oversized it for the show.
Oh
but,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I also really love the Walking with Dinosaurs trilogy, the Walking with Monsters, Walking with Beasts, all three of those.
Walking with Beasts is probably my second favorite of
Yeah.
those. Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite episode of 72. So for me, I gotta say either episode 3 or 7. And that is because episode 3 had Megalania, and Megalania is just awesome. And episode 7, I like that one because of Mosasaurus, and it kind of talked about some of the interesting things, especially like going in depth about Mosasaurus, showing off its capabilities with the bite and everything. And that was from the Monsters Resurrected show. But also, like, there was the inaccuracy I put in there of Mosasaurus giving live birth. We just, assumed that because... like, why would a Mosasaurus crawl on land to lay eggs? Or like, just like ichthyosaurs and stuff they have live birth too, so why would the Mosasaurus lay eggs? But then we actually found eggs, an egg in Antarctica from a Mosasaur species. So now we know that they laid eggs, which is pretty interesting actually. So imagine a Mosasaurus going on land. That's very kind of crazy to think about. Claire, favorite episode of 72?
Probably the finale.
Finale? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of 12.
12, yeah.
Yeah. I thought there was some really fun ones in 12. I liked all the little creatures in there.
Yeah. Dawson?
I believe it was the first episode that had the Smilodon, right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
think besides that, it's also the beginning point of this amazing series and
Yeah.
how many viewers flocked to your channel. I think it was a real astounding turning point for you as a YouTube as a career, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The whole, I got it also, I guess I should agree with that. Episode 1 was, really one of the best episodes, just, even though it was kind of rough to begin with, and it was a little bit awkward, I still think it was very important because it got the whole thing started, so that's a very good point, Dawson. Yeah.
I tend to make good points, actually.
Yeah. Okay, question 4. A creature that wasn't in the show, but should have been included. And it's okay if we agree on some of these, guys. We don't have to, all have a different one. For me, so some of these I hadn't even heard of when I created the show. So originally some of these were left out because I didn't even know about them. But after I was doing research, working on the show, I learned about them and I'm like, oh, those definitely should have been in here. But one of them, Quincana, was a crocodile that coexisted with Megalania. And it definitely could not have beat Megalania in a fight. But it certainly was still a very large crocodile, around 20 feet long. Walked upright, kind of like Caprosuchus, which was in the show, and it was kind of fast runner, so I'm assuming that it would have been pretty dangerous. It would have been a good one to include. Second one that should have been included, Sarcosuchus. That was the one they put in the ending of the 65 movie with Adam Driver. That was the Sarcosuchus, the giant four-legged beast. They made it a little bit too big. It was probably around 40 feet there, should have been 30. But it was still really large and dangerous, so that would be a good one for the show. People requested the American lion, so that would be a good one to include. And also Kulasuchus, that one was cut from the show because I added in another creature. I'll talk more about that later. But that one would have been interesting to see, but I cut it because it wasn't quite as dangerous as the other one I added in. Okay, Claire, what about you? Creature that wasn't in the show but should have been.
Well, I think that fungi are technically animals, right? So I'd
Kind
really
of.
like to, I'd like to see if there's some toxic mushrooms or something, or parasitic mushrooms.
Yeah.
Kind of cheated their way to the victory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of
Interesting.
cheating a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Even though they're not predatory, it would have been interesting to see something like the prehistoric elephants and stuff.
Oh, yes.
That would have been cool. Rhinoceros, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Edition?
Yeah, herbivore edition.
Yeah.
Even though they're not hunting humans. They
Yeah, definitely kill you.
Kill you.
Yeah. Dawson?
Paleoloxodon, that's the big
Yeah.
guy right there. It was actually
Yeah.
thought that Hannibal actually rode one of them when he crossed
Yeah.
the Alps, which is very cool. Little fact there. We don't know if it's true or not, but I'm calling it fact regardless. I personally would like to see a Barbrophelid on there. I'm a big fan of those guys. Not a lot of research has been done on them, but they have these massive crests that shows they must have had gigantic teratoid and mastoid muscles, so they would have had a crazy bite force.
Yeah.
And also, they're just really cool. Had a lot of synapomorphies with modern cats. Synapomorphy is just a common trait that multiple groups of animals happen to share. Also, they have a cool name. Yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah.
Elephants would have been awesome. I love elephants.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite animal to voice? Once again, this is going to be repetitive. Megalania or Mosasaurus? I'm just like way too biased on both of those.
Cute.
I don't know. Yeah. What about you, Claire?
Oh, who's the little squid guy? Squid guy with the cone hat.
Toothus. Oh, the cone hat.
Cone hat guy.
Yeah, cone hat. No, Camarasaurus.
Yeah, Camarasaurus.
Yeah, Camarasaurus.
Oh, that was
I'm trying to remember if that was your first one on the show or not. It's either that or...
My brain is full of holes.
No, I think you had two in the same
This
episode.
is so true, Claire. So
I think it
true.
was the same episode you had Jacalopterus and Camarasaurus.
Camarasaurus is...
Yeah.
I like him.
My favorite. I am partial to Quetzalcoatlus.
Yeah.
Mostly just because hearing about him all the cool
The
stuff.
It was a fun recording for
the
you.
F-bomb
It was-
drop.
It was definitely a fun recording.
Yeah.
I mean, Argentavis is definitely my favorite out
Yeah.
of all the ones I've voiced, but
Yeah.
Quetzalcoatlus was.
But yeah, dropping the F-bomb, yeah.
Yeah, getting the curse of Sanitarian Sam.
Yeah. Dawson?
You know, I really enjoyed actually Urasynonyx actually, just because of the amount of factoids that were in there.
Oh yeah,
for the
yeah,
viewers.
especially like the mountain lion compared to cheetah factor of it.
Yeah. You know.
The differences between how they would have actually been, because like it was assumed that Myrocynonyx was originally like extremely like closely related to cheetahs, but now we know it much more closely resembled mountain lions.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's an interesting thing about it.
Yeah, really enjoyed also the cats, since like I'm
Yeah.
very incredibly biased.
Yeah. Best memory from season 1. I gotta say, when the viewers were so excited for more episodes, so like whenever I would take breaks and I was like I just have things going on, or I just like got bored for a while, or just I don't know, just couldn't make episodes all the time. I took like 2-3 month breaks in the middle between some of the episodes. But like everyone was really wanting more. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is so awesome! We want to see more." So I think that was a really good memory for me, because just everyone was so happy about the series. Pretty much everyone enjoyed it. Sure, people disagreed on some things, but like overall, everyone really loved it. So I really enjoyed that. Claire?
Gosh, I loved when Hannah was recording the smoker edition.
Yeah.
I was choking in the background.
Born a Megalonic Smoker Edition.
Oh Lord, yeah, yep, that was pretty. I mean, I was pretty sick.
I couldn't breathe.
That was pretty funny. I wish I was there for that.
It was beautiful.
I bet it was.
She did it a couple times, dude.
I did do it a couple times because I messed up the first part of the recording, and so I just went ahead and was like, "What if I just recorded a second time?" And thus, it was born. That was pretty fun.
So that's yours also.
Yeah.
Okay. Dawson?
It's really hard to contend with the smoker edition, honestly.
You missed it.
I like the dissent that was created though, in, like you said, the comment section about people having opinions, because they just creates conversation. People are interested in these animals.
Especially the people who are like, "Oh, Quetzalcoatlus couldn't kill a T-Rex; his beak would shatter." Like, excuse me, like, what, like, if his beak shattered, that'd still kill the T-Rex. Like, you realize that, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but I also really enjoyed the initial planning process.
Yeah.
When you and I talked about this, gosh, was it over a year
It was
ago
the
now, this
summer of it was the school year. It was like right before. It was the like very end of my freshman year of college. I came up with this stuff, and then I created the intro over the summer and sent it to Dawson. And I don't remember if I sent it to Hannah or not. I don't think so. But anyway. Then over that year, I actually didn't make any of the, like I started working on it. First episode came out in February of my sophomore year in college. Anyway though, it took a while to get out because I just had to get everything set up and work on it, like actually dedicate time to it. But yeah, it was a really cool thing there. Yeah. Okay. What animal do you think should have won? So for me, Mosasaurus. So I'm not going to answer this because I kind of like set up the list and designed Mosasaurus to win anyway. But for the others, what do you think, Claire?
Oh, stars. I genuinely don't know.
Like Megalon, Leviathan. I
I
don't
think
know.
Gigalothrics might have been a good contender there.
Gigalothrics?
No.
No.
I'm sad that Leviathan didn't win.
Yeah, Leviathan was a very close one there because it certainly would have been extremely dangerous. Yeah. What about you, Dawson?
I mean, I'm going to level with you with the fact that you had combined terrestrial and aquatic. I think Mosasaurus was going to win regardless, honestly.
Yeah.
That's probably who I would have chosen to win. But
Yeah. Yeah,
I
if
don't
it
know,
wasn't,
I would have liked to have seen probably Hannah, Leviathan. I mean,
Yeah.
mammals are incredibly smart.
if it wasn't Mosasaurus, it had to have probably been Leviathan or Megalodon. I know if I put Megalania first without putting Mosasaurus like up there, like if Megalania was dead first, like if it was the one that actually won the whole thing, I think there'd be a lot of outrage because this thing's like small, it's like nowhere near as dangerous as Megalodon, for instance. So why did it get so high? So that's why I feel like if Mosasaurus didn't win, I feel like Leviathan or Megalodon would have had to. But I would still put Leviathan above Megalodon because Megalodon's just going to swallow you whole. It's not going to be too, like, I don't know. Not as very, like, Leviathan could literally make you explode with its sonar, so that's just very brutal.
It couldn't make me explode, though.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, you're too big.
Yeah, you're too big. Okay, animal or animals that should have been ranked higher. For me, I would say Kalenkin. It definitely should have beat Arctidus just because this thing was like way more dangerous. This thing could run you down. This thing, its beak was so long that the very tip of it could crack your skull in two just by like tapping you. Like that's how long the beak was. It'd be extremely brutal. And this thing could kick you. You'd go flying into a wall. Like, I don't know. Kalenkin was like, at least should have been higher than Arctidus. Probably a little bit higher in general. I don't know. Also, Deinosuchus. In all reality, it should have beaten Titanoboa in that episode because Titanoboa wasn't exactly a human killer. It definitely could have, but like Deinosuchus was good at it. Like that's what it specialized in, was killing ancient humans. So, Claire, what do you think? Something that should have been higher?
Justice for cone hat squid.
Yes. Camarasaurus. Yes. Cone hat squid.
No.
Conat squid, he definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yep.
I want to give some justice. I can't even think about it right now. I can't think about it. I don't remember.
Get coned.
Argentavis? No, I don't know.
No, I agree that Argentavis was, but he's weak. It's like a little glass cannon.
I mean, it can kick you off a cliff.
Yeah, but
Well, it could kick a can off a cliff.
Yeah, Lammergeier can kick a cow off a cliff, so.
I like to see that happen, actually.
Me too, that'd be, well, not hilarious for the cow, but I want to see a video of that.
Well, you know, cows gotta suffer firms.
Yeah.
That's how life goes, I suppose.
Yeah. What about you, Dawson?
You know, I unironically, I really like to see Gigalothrics just a little bit higher.
Yeah.
I you know, we were going through the list, and
Yeah, you're the one who said it should be super low.
yeah,
so.
I'm you know, I can't admit when I'm wrong. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not too proud to say that. I think Gigalothrics needs to be a little bit higher, honestly. And then I think also your Smilodon placement was a little, you know, part of my friends, your little doo-doo fart, so I didn't really like that. But your list, your rules. So.
Yeah. Okay. What is one thing you've learned from the show? So doing research, I learned that Ornamegalonyx was an absolute beast. Like this thing was like, it's like 3 foot 9 inches tall. And this thing was strong enough to kill ground sloths. Like, it just kicks them in the face and kills them. Like, it just caves in their skull. Like, this tiny little owl. I mean, it's not tiny compared to humans, but compared to a ground sloth, this thing just... I don't understand it. Like, when I was... Before I did my research, I thought this thing was going to be, like, not even close to being dangerous to humans. And, like, I actually look into this, and, like, this thing is seriously deadly, and I didn't even realize it. Like, when I first made the list, I'm like... this thing probably wasn't too dangerous. I think Dawson actually gave me the idea to even put it on the list. Like, I don't think I thought of it. Yeah,
I probably did. Yeah.
I don't even think I thought of it on my own. And originally I was thinking it wasn't going to be too dangerous doing the research. Yeah, it definitely was. What about you, Claire? Favorite thing you learned?
Yeah, so I don't have a whole lot of biological background, but the thing that I learned that was most interesting was little scorpion guy. What do they have? Just part of his claw, and they figured everything out based on just that.
The thing is that I think it's interesting.
Is it proportional in size or something?
Yeah.
The thing I think is interesting is that they have the bottom part of the claw, so like the part that's movable. And so here's the interesting thing. How do they know? I mean, I understand how, but like to someone who doesn't, like, how do they know it's not a claw from a lobster, for instance? They just have like, but the thing is, you can tell based on like morphology of modern scorpions and the kind of bumps on it that it's going to match a scorpion as opposed to a lobster. But still, like, to the average person, you're not going to be like, oh, how do I know if this is a scorpion, lobster, crab, you know, something like that. But yeah, it's very interesting. They only had the one claw piece. Hannah?
I think it was about, like, the most interesting part was thinking about all the size, like, proportional to everything. Because, I mean, we, like, started off with, like, you know, Ornitomegalonyx, which isn't necessarily small. When you put it, like, proportional to everything on the list, oh my god, there are some really big things that existed in the world. I mean, the largest living mammal is still alive, which is still very cool.
Well, the largest living mammal was the largest living animal of all time. That's the scary thing.
No, the siphonophores, dude. Those
Well, the longest siphonophores, but they're technically multi-organisms instead of just one. But I would still count it.
I don't like siphonophores actually.
No. But yeah, there's multiple animals longer than the blue whale. We have giant siphonophores, Portuguese man o' war, lion's mane jellyfish, bootlace worm, which has got to be the lightest out of all of them. This thing's like...
Oh, it's not a polychaete?
No, bootlace worm is like 200 feet long, and this thing... Well, actually, it might be. I don't know. And it's like...
It might be a polychaete.
It might be. Anyway, 200 feet long, and this thing's like called a bootlace worm because it's like as thin as a bootlace or a shoelace. That's how thin it is, but it's like a really, really long worm. I don't know how they even measure this thing, but whatever.
With a ruler?
Yeah, with a ruler. They just like coil it back and forth.
Exactly.
They just coil it back and forth in rows until they get the full length of it. I think that's what they do with giant squid tentacles to measure them.
You can't use a tape measure to measure this worm.
Yeah, not a tapeworm. But then also the prehistoric dinosaurs, so like Amphicoelius, Argentinosaurus, all of those large sauropods were also longer than the blue whale, but not quite as heavy. What about you, Dawson?
That's a good question. I don't know. There was a lot of information I didn't know about a lot of prehistoric animals.
Yeah.
My background is mammals, but you know, learning more about some of the cephalopods and more about, you know, some of the marine reptiles.
Just in general, learning more knowledge.
I think probably this is Platycarpus. With the skin impression where you could tell the pigmentation, right? Yeah, Platycarpus. I didn't know we had that for. Were they pliosaurs?
Mosasaur.
They're mosasaurs, but are mosasaurs a part of the, like these superclass like?
No, they're separate.
Okay.
Mosasaurs are actually pliosaurs and plesiosaurs are together, and then mosasaurs are actually part of squamata. They're with the lizards and snakes.
They're a squamate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, never mind. That's the most important thing there. I did not know that.
Their closest living relatives are the
Snakes
monitor lizards.
Wow.
They're literally just a type of lizard. But yeah, the thing is.
I changed my answer. Never mind. That's insane. I didn't know they were a squamate. Wow.
But the thing I don't think I mentioned in the show, they actually have pigments they have pigment that they found in the fossils of Platycarpus, which is they have pigments of the eyes, so they know the eye color. Like they don't have an exact answer because they're still doing research, but they're assuming that it would be a brownish color based on the pigments they found. But that's the thing, they've never preserved pigment in like eye color. Like that's how well preserved the eyes were. Like no other prehistoric animal has ever been preserved with eye pigment like intact. So it was really interesting when they actually got this done, because that was just like super, super cool. Like learning about Platycarpus, and especially since it was a Kansas one, and I'm from Kansas, so shout out to Kansas. So it's just really interesting to learn about Platycarpus and all that. How it's just one of the best preserved prehistoric creatures, which is really cool. Hardest part about making the show. I don't know if you guys want to answer this one. I'll let you if you want. But for me, writing the script, that took like quite some time. And part of the problem was that's why it took 3 months at one point, because I was just like, I don't know, I got bored of it and I just took a break. It just takes a lot of time to type everything up. Got to do the research. Sometimes for the animals, there's not a lot of information available about them, like if they're lesser known, stuff like that. But yeah, for me, writing a script was the hardest part.
I couldn't pronounce anything.
Yes.
I had to do like 5 takes.
Yeah.
Apparently, English is not my first language.
Well, technically, it would be Greek and Latin that is not your first language.
Oh,
but,
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. Hannah?
I don't know, I have fun.
Getting
I guess
sick.
Yeah, getting sick. That sucked. But mostly, I mean, I didn't really have a lot of recordings to do.
Yeah.
Most of mine were either like scavenged like one per like every
Few episodes or whatever.
So.
Although in episode 11 with Quetzalcoatlus, you had 2, I think it was.
Yeah.
Forest Rocos and
Yeah.
Quetzalcoatlus. Yeah, I know you and Claire both were spaced out more because we were sorting it originally based on the class of animal, and other than invertebrates was all lumped in for Claire. But like,
Yeah.
but yeah, we sorted it so that because originally we also didn't know if Hannah and Claire wanted to do as much as me and Dawson. And some of the time, like over the summer, I did all those episodes myself because I just figured it'd be easiest. I wanted to get them out when I could. And I felt bad about not doing a season, not working on the season for like 3 months. So I just tried to get out what I could. Got out 4 episodes during the summer. But yeah.
You know what it was? It was saying crests.
Oh yes, crest
5 times
for
in a row,
Pteranodon.
like, crests.
That was it. I totally remember that.
Hated it.
Crests for Pteranodon. Every time you'd say crests,
The
you
crests.
hated it.
The crests.
Crests.
It sounded like a lisp every single time
Yeah.
I heard it.
No, and then I got bronchitis also for like a month, and who knows if it's gone by now. Hopefully it is, but
Well, better be gone this point.
yeah, I took so many pills for it, and it didn't seem to be helping much, but yeah, got better. I should be good now.
Alright.
Okay. If you could change one thing about the show, what would it be? So for me, this was a big one. Me and Dawson both agree on this one. So separating the creatures into aquatic versus land. So season 1 would be land creatures, season 2 would be aquatic, or vice versa, something like that. So that they weren't kind of like, because that way they aren't kind of like, because it's kind of unfair to be like, oh, these ones are aquatic, but if you never get in the water, they can't hurt you. So that way splitting them up would be probably more fair to the viewers and to the creatures. To kind of compete with, like, make them compete that way. But I didn't think about it. I was just trying to lump everything together. So that's kind of why season 2 is going to have just carnivores. Season 3 will have just herbivores with the dinosaur theme going on there. Yeah, I don't know.
Justice for the invertebrates.
Yeah, justice for the invertebrates.
You do the invertebrates, they just get stepped on.
Yeah.
That's their whole goal in life.
No bones.
Be born, get stepped on.
Be born, be stepped on, yeah. I don't know. I can't think of anything. I enjoyed it pretty much. The theme song was a banger.
Yeah, the music, the music is so great. Like, that's just a bop right there. Totally banger.
You know, I actually made that theme song. So.
No, you definitely did not.
Yeah, I just lied. I apologize for that one. To the viewers.
What about you, Dawson? Just you agreeing with me on that? Separate them into land versus.
That was my biggest gripe from the beginning, honestly.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how big this would take off. So.
And yeah, I mean, another thing was just knowing like if I could even fit 72 land and 72 aquatic. Like,
yeah, that was. You didn't come up with all 72 million. I remember we were discussing.
Yeah, I actually had to ask
episode.
Dawson for a lot of help, and even then, I like even coming up with the dinosaurs for season 2. That was a struggle because like finding enough large carnivores that could actually kill people.
Oh yeah.
Like seriously, like Velociraptor isn't even on the list, and like don't hate on me for this, but like it was small. It was like literally like 1.5 feet tall, possibly 2 at the absolute maximum, 6 feet long, and it was like, what was it, like honestly like 30 pounds. This thing in a pack could kill a person, but we know it didn't hunt in packs. Like it was a solitary hunter. And basically it would take on like Protoceratops and take this thing out, which I guess if it could kill one, it might be able to kill a person, but like, you know, you can just grab it by the throat and just strangle it. I don't know. It lunges at you. I don't know. It's like Protoceratops doesn't have like opposable thumbs and hands. It's just stuck walking around on all fours. So I don't know.
Are you gonna like include Utah raptors?
Yes, Utah Raptor's in. I think that the common knowledge is Utah Raptor might have been a pack hunter. We know Deinosuchus was for sure. That one is in the list. Deinosuchus definitely was. It would take out prey animals like Deinosuchus, and we just find tons of Deinosuchus bones with like so many Deinosuchus skeletons surrounding them, which symbolizes most, like the largest theory is that they would be hunting in packs to kill the Tyrannosaurus. So kind of interesting like that. So then this one was a question Dawson wanted to ask. So which class of animals is the strongest of the 72 featured? So like mammal, reptile, bird, amphibian, fish. I gotta say reptiles, just based on Mosasaurus, Megalania. I mean, you look at like all the ones in the finalists, almost all of them are reptiles, whether aquatic or terrestrial. Most of them end up being reptiles. I mean, there's the whales, Megalodon, but the majority are reptiles. So, I don't know. Would anyone disagree with me? How about that? I'll ask that.
I don't think I can.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Man, justice for invertebrates, but
yeah.
No.
They're still the weakest type.
Yeah.
They're just.
Okay, so then this one is just for me. So why were some creatures excluded? So this was basically just because, like I say, there can only be 72 creatures in the 72 list, obviously. And some of them, Quincana, Paleophis, and Sarcosuchus, I hadn't even heard of when I started the list. But I added in Paleophis because I decided, oh, that's a really cool animal. Not many people have heard of it. Inostrancevia was a little bit more well known, so I put in Paleophis instead. And I don't know, I felt that one should be included because it was way lesser known. Like, I didn't even know this was like an animal until researching, I think, Titanoboa. Like, even sources will list the second largest snake being Gigantophis, but Paleophis was like 10 feet longer at the maximum. So I don't know, because like Gigantophis was hypothesized to be like reticulated python size, although it could have gone up to 35 feet. So I don't know. Anyway, then this one also just for me. What creatures were cut? So after learning a Paleophis, I cut Inostrancevia from the list, like I said. Additionally, there was a creature named Labyrinthodontia that was originally on the list. However, I later found out that it is a subclass of animals. It's a subclass of amphibians rather than a genus, so it was removed and replaced with Megatherium. So that would be kind of awkward to decide to put an entire subclass of animals on the list grouped under one thing. So we definitely replaced that with Megatherium, and that was a better choice. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, then these ones, we're gonna have a group discussion where anyone can butt in or whatever for who would win battles. So our first one, Smilodon versus Epicyon. So personally, I would say Smilodon would probably win because they're both pack hunters. Smilodon was basically like also known as the saber-toothed tiger, so we have a pack of large cats that I think, if I remember correctly, was like up to 900 pounds or something like that. Epicyon was smaller, but they were also pack hunters. They probably would have had a larger pack than Smilodon would have. Epicyon capable of crunching through bones. Smilodon not quite, because it actually had quite a weak bite force, but the long canine teeth could do a lot of damage. So I don't know, I'd probably have to say Smilodon.
I'm going to have to disagree and say Epicyon because of the bite force issue, and I don't think that the size has to be such an issue.
Yeah. Strength in numbers.
Yeah, and also like aggression and style, I think, would have a better impact.
Yeah.
I'll play the contrarian as well. I think Epicyon because in a battle of like stamina.
Yeah.
Dogs are,
well, that's a fact too.
In a pack hunting, if the pack is larger for Epicyon and they're hunting this large pack of Smilodon, in a situation where they're in the open, they're walking around. They can run back, they can circle around, a la hyena style. Yeah,
you got to keep that in mind. That definitely with dogs, they have really good stamina. They can, like wolves, can run for like a really long distance without stopping, and they can travel like miles, like for days, just keep on running nonstop. So Epicyon was probably similar, being able to run for long distances and keep its stamina, be really good with that. Smilodon, cats aren't quite as good. Cheetahs, after 45 seconds, they can die of exhaustion if they don't stop running. So they just can't always catch the prey item they want, because even if they're fast, they got to catch up to it and like get it, because after 45 seconds, they're a goner. What about you, Dawson? Who do you think would win?
Well, I think it really depends on the scenario, you know.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking like a gladiator arena, one-on-one, I think Smilodon would
Yeah,
absolutely solo.
one-on-one, Smilodon would win. Yeah, for sure. But pack versus pack, what do you think?
I think it really depends, actually.
Yeah.
Depends on what they're doing. They're fighting for a resource, or they just like it's a bloodlusted like a comic vine kind of battle
Yeah.
thing. I don't know. I feel like the Smilodon win more times than the Borophagians, the Epicyon, honestly.
Yeah.
I just think that, stamina is a huge factor for dogs, but cats are, you know how their muscles are.
Yeah, they're more powerfully built in general.
They are an exceptionally more powerful animal, and also they weigh more. And
they also got claws as weapons. Dogs can't do that.
Yeah, they're more like trekking. Yeah, I think the Smilodon would win more times than not, but I don't think the Epicyon is out of the competition. I think they're still. I mean, they're probably the strongest caniform, or not caniform, but just canids in general, honestly.
You think like 60-40? 60% Smilodon victory?
I mean, again, it really depends on like what's happening between the two.
If it was like a death battle, there wasn't resources. They're just like one has to kill the other, or else like.
If it was like a gladiator arena, I think it'd be 9 times out of 10 the Smilodon. But if it's out in the open, I feel like you could definitely lower, like what Claire said, about like 60-40.
Yeah.
I definitely
I feel like definitely to the death, the cats would probably overcome.
I think also, if cats were the same size as golden retrievers, they would kill us all. So there's that too.
Yeah. Leopard size. Well, bigger than a leopard. Golden retrievers are bigger than leopards, so. I would taller anyway.
I would agree with that statement. Actually, I would.
Okay. Okay. Our second battle. Inostrancevia versus Andrewsarchus. So Inostrancevia was the largest of the gorgonopsids, so think Smilodon, but 12 to 16 feet long, canine teeth I think around a foot long if I remember correctly. It's a mammal-like, that's the wrong term. It's technically a mammal, it's like an early mammal, relative of modern mammals, closer to mammals than reptiles. Anyway, Inostrancevia, largest gorgonopsid, 12 to 16 feet long, foot long, canine teeth, weak bite force, kind of a little stronger than Smilodons. Wait, no, it was weaker than Smilodons. Weaker bite force than Smilodons, but that didn't mean it has a weak bite in general. It just means it couldn't like crush bones or anything, but it could still bite through the armor of its prey. And then we have Andrewsarchus, which was around 12 feet long or so. Kind of like the leading kind of generalization for its body form is kind of like Deinosuchus or Teledon with the kind of tall and short 3 foot long skull, so bigger skull than Inostrancevia, would have had a stronger bite force, teeth not quite as big but still would have been a powerful biter. We don't know for sure whether carnivore or herbivore or omnivore, but most likely omnivore, possibly hypercarnivore but not entirely sure. But anyway, they're both very big creatures. They're both probably evenly matched in terms of strength, but Inostrancevia was possibly slightly larger, but we don't know because Andrewsarchus' whole body hasn't been found, just like part of the skull. Pretty much the whole skull, but not quite, missing a few teeth, stuff like that. But I don't know. I would probably say Andrewsarchus, just because it's a bigger head, can deliver a bigger bite. It's also higher off the ground, so it's going to be more likely to like get the upper hand, because if you use something low to the ground, I mean, it's not always a disadvantage, because if you think about Megalania, it could take out the Protodon, which was like, I don't know, 3 to 4 times as tall as Megalania. But of course that was granted, like part of that was venom that was doing the work. But still, lower to the ground animals can still sometimes take out tall animals. But you do have to keep in mind Andrewsarchus was much taller in general than Inostrancevia. So I don't know, I think Andrewsarchus would probably win though, just based on the fact that it has the height advantage, possibly, well, definitely the weight advantage, several hundred pounds more I think if I remember correctly. Anyway, I don't know, probably Andrewsarchus, but it might be a close match. Inostrancevia could go for the legs. The legs of Andrewsarchus would have been pretty thin, kind of pig-like. Yeah, I don't know, what do you guys think?
That's rude.
Yeah.
He has perfectly nice legs.
I say, I don't think pig would be an insult. You know, they're kind of smart animals.
Yeah, well, pigs will eat everything too. Pigs are very ferocious.
And wild boar terrify me. So.
Yeah.
It doesn't terrify me.
Biggest.
Hyenas, so that says a lot to me about wild boars.
Yeah, you almost got you didn't almost get attacked by a hyena, but you could have if it was a female. So.
Well, I'm saying a wild boar is way scarier than a hyena to me.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of size, I mean, the biggest wild boar was 13. Well, biggest pig was 13 feet long, and they taxidermied it. It's up in a museum somewhere in the world. I think it might have been China. I don't remember. It's a fat pig.
Obviously, I can always fight something, right?
Yeah.
I could not fight a wild boar.
Yeah.
I give up. Straight up.
Who would be easier to beat in a fight with?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, who would you rather fight if you had to fight for your survival? A Smilodon or a wild boar?
Oh, definitely a wild boar for sure.
Smilodon would make it fast at least.
Yeah.
I'd
go Smilodon.
Smilodon.
Yeah, you wouldn't want it. The boar.
That's true, actually. No, Claire's got a great point there. I didn't think about that. Claire knows my own mortality better than I do, apparently.
Yeah.
So.
Dawson, why don't you tell everybody how you plan to die?
I told one of my advisors to say, actually, and she laughed. She thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
107 being mauled by a mountain lion.
Yep. 107 years old. He wants to be murdered by a mountain lion.
Written in the death note. It's too late now.
Yeah. Okay. But in all seriousness, back to the thing. Andrewsarchus versus Inostrancevia. Well, what I mean is we gotta get back on topic. What do you think, Dawson? Inostrancevia or Andrewsarchus?
Andrew. Yeah. But like you said, they only have a skull found. The thing could be they could
be longer, it could be shorter.
They could nerf it like they did Dunkleostus.
But if you base it on
the current knowledge, I think Andrewsarchus wins 10 out of 10 times. Inostrancevia is getting its booty whopped.
If you base Andrewsarchus' size off of Deinosuchus, then it's gonna be around 7 or 8 feet tall.
Honestly, Deinosuchus versus Andrewsarchus would have been a better fight. Actually, I think it would have been a little more.
Yeah, but that would be they're too similar of an animal. They're both they're both 12 feet long, both about the same height. It's gonna be literally two identical fighters. Except Andrewsarchus is not gonna have as much of protrusions on the face, so probably a little bit weaker because.
They're both.
Deinosuchus is Andrewsarchus, what bites Deinosuchus in the face. It's got a little kind of bony armor on there. Andrewsarchus does have a big zygomatic arch, but I don't know, that could get broken in a bite, whereas Deinosuchus would have the extra armor. But I don't know.
If I were putting money, I'd put it on Inostrancevia because he's more of a known quantity.
Yeah.
But
he's more of a what?
Known quantity.
Oh.
We know more
Yeah, I think Cliff makes a good point there. That, like I said about just we don't know much. Andrewsarchus has its skull pretty much, but Inostrancevia is definitely a safe bet because we have a more accurate depiction of what it looks like in life.
I mean, that's for sure.
It might not be as aggressive, say, if it's an omnivore rather than a carnivore.
Yeah.
Opportunist more than.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
if its teeth are shaped for a specific kind of prey.
Yeah, I mean, we know the teeth probably could be both because even carnivores. Cats, their molars could theoretically be used for chewing plants, but they aren't going to. Mm-hmm. But it's possible, you know what I mean? It's especially
they can't digest.
Yeah, exactly. It's their insides. They aren't meant to digest the plant matter. Dogs a little bit more, but with most predatory mammals anyway, they'll if they have to, they'll eat plants to survive. But it's if it absolutely comes to it, some will definitely not. But some, I've heard stories, some animals definitely will even if they're 100% diet of meat, they'll eat plants if they fruits and stuff. If they're about to die, they'll eat something just to keep them alive.
I'd eat dirt.
I think
dirt and worms.
In general, actually.
Dirt and worms.
Yeah.
Was it good?
I don't remember this.
Because I'm making it up.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, last battle. Deinosuchus versus Sarcosuchus. Background information. Deinosuchus was 40 to 45 feet long maximum. Sarcosuchus was, I think, around 31 feet, but originally was thought to be up to 40, but now it's much smaller. The thing is, Sarcosuchus could not do a death roll. It has a thinner snout, more like I guess it's still crocodilian-like. It's just not gharial-like, but it's definitely crocodilian, whereas Deinosuchus has the alligator-type snout. It's fat. It's very wide and broad, so it has a more powerful bite by far. But the thing is that I honestly would have to say Deinosuchus, but I only picked this battle because it's a typical who would win? This is the typical crocodile fight battle is Sarcosuchus versus Deinosuchus because they're just both really well-known gigantic crocodilians, and they're both super dangerous. But I think I'd have to say Deinosuchus because, like I say, Sarcosuchus can't death roll. Its neck wasn't supported for it, and the snout was too thin. Deinosuchus was bigger in general, weighed more, wider, longer. Once again, broader snout, so it's going to have a larger bite and a more powerful bite. Their skulls are kind of similar size, but once again, Deinosuchus was much broader. So like I say, I'm going to say probably 9 out of 10 Deinosuchus being the winner, but Sarcosuchus might be able to win part of the time. I don't know. But my money would be on Deinosuchus.
Is Sarcosuchus the one with the teeth that are crazy, or is that Caprosuchus?
That Caprosuchus is the one that like the really long thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd agree with Deinosuchus. Sarcosuchus is strong, but Deinosuchus got that.
Yeah. Well, what about same size though? Even if they're the same size, I would say Deinosuchus still wins because once again, like the jaws of Sarcosuchus are just thin, and they're more adapted for eating fish. I mean, granted, it did eat dinosaurs, so Deinosuchus and Sarcosuchus both fed on dinosaurs. We know that. It's not like Sarcosuchus was just a fish eater, but Deinosuchus was better suited for it. It would take out tyrannosaurs. Sarcosuchus, I mean, they lived at different times, but they fed on different types of dinosaurs. Deinosuchus generally fed on larger things, hadrosaurs, pterosaurs. I mean, not pterosaurs, tyrannosaurs. But yeah, I don't know. So I would probably say Deinosuchus. What about you, Dawson?
Yeah, you got 2 words for you, Logan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Death roll.
Yeah, Deinosuchus destroys.
Yeah, okay. And then finally here, our last question. Are you guys excited for season 2? So definitely, yeah, this is gonna be great. Yeah. Yeah, woo. Yeah, woo.
Yes.
For sure.
Heck yeah.
Season 2 is gonna be great. And that will be coming out soon after this video. I'm working on episode 1 right now for season 2. And script is, I want to say, about halfway written up. Well, probably not quite, because it's going to have Megalosaurus and Spinosaurus, spoiler. But those are going to be both really long typed up scripts because we know so much about them, especially since Megalosaurus was the first discovered dinosaur. It's got a lot of information available about it. And then Spinosaurus, so much has changed about it in the past few years and past century, stuff like that. But in general, just longer scripts for those 2 animals, so it might take a few days to get out episode 1 of season 2. But anyway, that will be out soon, and it will be fun, and yeah, so looking forward to it, and I hope all of you guys are. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dinosaurs ruled the earth for over 165 million years. There were many theropods throughout the Mesozoic era that were extremely formidable. We've picked 72 that dominate the others. In this show, we will talk about these dangerous animals, including when they lived, what they ate, their weaponry, and how humans would fare if these creatures were still alive. From the tyrant lizard king, to the lord of the lizard eaters, to the meat-eating bull, this is 72 Dangerous Animals Prehistory.